Piercing and sucking insect pests. Piercing and sucking insect pests attack crops and other plants by piercing the plant and sucking moisture and nutrients from the plant's leaves, stem, flowers, and fruits to feed. The stink bug below is feeding on a tomato. What kind of mouthpiece is necessary for these insect pests? What damage could be wrought by this method of feeding? Discuss. The mouthpiece necessary to feed by piercing and sucking is an elongated tube known as a proboscis. It works in the same way that an elephant drinks water with its trunk or a human drinks with a straw. Although this presentation emphasizes pests, not all insects with proboscises are detrimental to crops. The enlarged photo of a honeybee at right uses its proboscis to drink nectar, but also pollinates as it feeds. Almost all butterflies and moths also feed via proboscis. Damage by insect pests with piercing and sucking mouthpieces includes plant decline due to excessive quantities of sap and moisture removed. In extreme cases, this causes wilting and foliage distortion. Reduced seed production due to damage to buds and flowers, premature leaf fall, distortion, galls, or necrosis of the plant resulting from toxins inserted into the plant body by piercing and sucking pests. Entry points for pathogenic fungi and bacteria created by the piercing of the insect. Although piercing and sucking insects have mandibles, they do not use them for feeding. They feed using the hollow tubed proboscis to pierce and suck. Cocoa capsid or cocoa mirid, Salbergella singularis, and Distantiella theobroma. The cocoa mirid or cocoa capsid is a piercing and sucking insect nicknamed the cocoa mosquito due to its method of feeding and resultant widespread damage similar to that of mosquitoes and humans. The cocoa capsid is the biggest threat to cocoa trees in West Africa. An estimated third of the cocoa crop is lost yearly to capsids and mealybugs. Left without treatment for 3 years, a cocoa crop would be 75% dead or severely damaged due to these capsids. After piercing the plant, the cocoa capsids release a toxin into the plant's tissues. The capsid can cause damage to the fruit, leaves, stems, and seeds of a cocoa tree. Seedlings and young trees are especially susceptible. Possible effects or symptoms include plant death and dieback, as well as, on the fruit, abnormal shape and or discoloration of pods, extensive mold, black or brown lesions as shown below, scabbing or pitting of skin. On the leaves, abnormal leaf fall and yellowed or dead leaves. The seeds, rotting seeds, and stems, cankers, discoloration of bark, mold, galls, internal red necrosis, or dead tissue. Tropical crops that are most impacted include cocoa and cotton. The cocoa capsid has a life cycle of 1 year. Capsids can be prevented, treated, or controlled at various points in the year by application of pesticides and insecticides, use of pest-resistant varieties, proper hygiene, propagating with uninfected plants, maintaining a thick canopy, and providing temporary shade for young trees. Mealybug, Planococcus species. The many species of mealybugs are all unarmored, oval, and wax-covered insect pests. Adult bodies and droppings are usually white or light colored. Due to their coloring and shape, groups of mealybugs on plants can look similar to mold, as in the photo to the right. Mealybugs can reproduce sexually or asexually and are prolific in their approximately 1 to 2 week life cycle. Mealybug nymphs, known as crawlers, may be yellow, orange, or pink, as below. Mealybugs cause damage to the fruit, flowers, leaves, and stems of crops. Some mealybugs also feed on roots, but this is much less common. Mealybugs suck sap from plant phloem to feed. This reduces the plant's vigor or health. Additionally, the mealybugs leave behind wax and honeydew, which is an excess sugar expelled by the insect after digestion. Honeydew sometimes provides food for other insects, but it can also be toxic to insects and plants. Honeydew can also prompt growth of mold, which inhibits photosynthesis. At the right, a bee feeds on honeydew. Damage by the mealybug is largely due to honeydew and any resulting molds. Effects of mealybug infestation include a reduction in the number of consumable or marketable products due to honeydew, mold, and egg sacs, a reduction in foliage after large groups of mealybugs have fed, premature dropping of fruit, fall or shedding of the stems and inflorescence of the part of the stem which flowers form, abnormal leaf colors, or fall. Tropical crops commonly damaged by the mealybug include citrus, coffee, cocoa, cotton, okra. The photo to the right shows mealybugs and ants on an okra pod. Treatment, prevention, or control of the mealybug includes application of insecticide or pesticide, destroying the mealybug's egg sacs, good agricultural hygiene, including removal of infected or dead plants and fruit, introduction of natural predators such as ladybugs. In this photo, a bean plays host to 2 ladybugs, mealybugs, and aphids, which we will learn about over the next slides. Aphid, which includes several species from the genus Aphis. The aphid is a small insect pest whose coloring is yellow to dark, almost black, green. The yellow colors are present during the summer months, while the darker colors are found in the cooler autumn and spring seasons. Like the mealybug and whitefly, aphids leave wax and honeydew behind after feeding, making crops more susceptible to molds and other insects. The aphids target the leaves, stems, and fruits or flowers of younger plants before moving on to more mature plants. A large population of aphids can kill the plant, but damage to the plant's overall health is more likely with smaller numbers of aphids. Signs of aphid damage to crops include damage to young plant leaves, stems, and flowers, presence of honeydew, reduction in photosynthesis, and development of black sooty mold, dwarfing or stunted growth, twisted or necrotic stems. Aphid damage on leaves include abnormal color and leaf patterns, yellowing, puckered, and/or curled leaves, necrotic leaves. The aphid is a disease vector, spreading various strains of mosaic and rosette viruses. Aphids are spread by natural dispersal, wind, propagating with infected plants, poor agricultural hygiene. Damage due to aphid infestation can be treated, prevented, or controlled by chemical applications of insecticide, parasitoid, and/or pesticides, intercropping, proper agricultural hygiene and sanitation, planting during times of the year less hospitable to the aphid, generally early season planting. The aphid is a significant pest of the groundnut and cowpea crops. Other crops impacted by the aphid include garlic, peppers, onions, cashews, celery, cabbage, and other lettuces, sesame, cotton, cocoa, sweet potato, turnip, potato, and other roots, tobacco, and maize. Whitefly, including species of Aleurhodicus, Bemisia, and Dialeurhodes. As its name suggests, the whitefly is a small, winged, white, or light-colored flying insect. There are many species of whiteflies who feed on a variety of crops. Almost all thrive in warm and dry conditions, especially nitrogen-rich environments. West African crops host a number of whitefly species, most importantly, Bemisia tabasi, alternatively known as the cotton, sweet potato, tobacco, or silverleaf whitefly. Bemisia tabasi, shown in the photo below, is one of the most prevalent and damaging species in tropical climate agriculture. The citrus or woolly whitefly species also cause damage to a number of tropical crops. Like many other piercing and sucking insect pests, the whitefly sucks sap from young leaves, damaging the health of the plant and stunting growth. They also leave behind honeydew and waxy buildup, which promotes the growth of molds and other insects and prevents effective photosynthesis. In large numbers, whiteflies can cause plant death. Eggs are laid on the underside of leaves. Whitefly crawlers, nymphs, shown in the photo at right, disperse as they mature. Whiteflies primarily damage the leaves of a crop, although this damage has significant side effects to the plant and its crop yield. Crop damage by whitefly includes abnormal leaf colors and leaf fall, presence of honeydew and or sooty mold, rolled or folded leaves, diminished crop yield, overall plant health, or even plant death. Compare the discolored leaves and squash on the right from the healthy squash plant on the left. The squash on the right has been significantly damaged by silverleaf whitefly. Tropical climate crops most impacted by the whitefly include roots and tubers, legumes, vegetables, and oil seeds, such as cowpeas, cashews, and groundnuts, citrus, peppers, tomatoes, and cucumbers, tobacco, rubber, cassava, cotton, cocoa, okra, sorghum, banana. You can see whiteflies, wax, and honeydew on the underside of a banana leaf in the image above. The whitefly is a significant disease vector, transmitting several strains of leaf curl, rosette, and mosaic diseases. As you learned in the last unit, these diseases cause significant damage to crops and crop yield. Whiteflies can be prevented, controlled, or treated by checking for infestation prior to planting or propagating, insecticide application, proper fertilization and watering, introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as ladybugs, small birds, and spiders. You may wish to hang sticky traps, stakes, or rolls, such as the yellow rolls in the photo to the right, above your crops to observe and measure insect pest populations, such as those of the whitefly. Cotton stainer, Disterchus superstitiosus, and Disterchus volkerii. Adult cotton stainers have black patterns or spots on red, black, or brown backs and a red and white striped underside. The stainers pierce the plant's growing fruit, such as the cotton boll, okra pod, or tomato, and suck nutrients from it. Although the cotton stainers feed in groups when young, as seen in the photo below, the nymphs disperse as they mature. As they feed, the cotton stainers produce a chemical that can stain cotton balls and damage other fruits. Fungi carried by the cotton stainer can also be transferred to crops in this way. Immature plants and fruits damaged by the cotton stainer will die without reaching maturity. Crop damage due to the cotton stainer includes decline in plant health due to nutrient depletion or parasites such as fungi, stains and or black spots on the fruits, or reduction in quality and or overall crop yield. Tropical crops impacted by the cotton stainer include cotton, okra, kapok, peppers, tomatoes, and other vegetables, and grains such as sorghum and millet, and jute. Cotton stainer damage can be prevented, treated, or controlled by implementation of a barrier, such as a clear plastic bag with small holes for airflow to protect the fruits, use of insecticides or pesticides when the infestation has grown large, agricultural hygiene and sanitation, including removal of stubble, seeds, stems, roots, litter, and debris shortly after harvest, application of fertilizer and compost as the heat will kill the pests. Introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as assassin bugs, ants, spiders, parasitic flies, and birds, particularly chickens. Scale insect, including species of Aspidiella and Hemiburlesia. There are more than 8,000 scale insect species identified in the world, including several dozen recorded in Africa. This polyphagous insect pest is a relative of the mealybug, another piercing and sucking insect. While scale insects can feed on live foliage, they are more commonly found on harvested crops in storage. For this reason, scale insects are rarely found in nature. The scale insect is armored or covered by a hard outer protection made of wax, discarded skins, and/or secretions. The armor is not connected to the bug itself. Female scale insects are immobile once nested. Below, an adult female scale insect is surrounded by her crawlers, or nymphs. Scale insects can reproduce asexually. Males are rare in the species as they have no mouth parts and wings rather than armor. The female scale insect body is circular, membranous, and a light yellow color as below. The armor varies in color and texture depending on their location, species, and sex. Some scale insects have a softer, waxy shield, while others have a strong outer protection akin to an oyster shell. Like the mealybug, aphid, and whitefly, scale insects secrete honeydew and wax. Ants and other insects are liable to be around a scale insect infestation for this food source. Damage from scale insects can be rampant, particularly in a storage facility. Piercing and sucking of harvested crops depletes the plant's fluid with no potential for replenishment or further growth. The piercing feeding method also allows for the intrusion of pathogens such as fungi. Honeydew and sooty mold also cause significant harm to the plants. Other symptoms of scale insect infestation include yellowed or dead leaves, abnormal leaf forms, colors, and patterns. Abnormal patterns, discoloration, and rotting of fruits, buds, and other organs. Plant wilt, dieback, and/or death. Signs of feeding of the leaves, stem, fruits, and/or roots. Tropical crops impacted by the scale insect include roots and tubers of ginger, turmeric, yam, and sweet potato, citrus, banana, avocado, fig, mango, and other fruits, palms, and ornamental plants. Scale insects can be prevented, treated, or controlled by regular and frequent searches of crops before and during storage, searching and cleaning crops prior to marketing, propagating with uninfected plants, insecticides or pesticides, although these are less effective due to the protection of the armor, introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as wasps, beetles, and ladybugs, proper agricultural hygiene and sanitation, particularly removal of debris and litter following harvest. Melon Thrips, Thrips palmae. Although there are many species of thrips, both singular and plural, only melon thrips are currently present in Africa. Thrips thrive in enclosed and open environments, making them a formidable pest for farmers. Environmentalists predict that many thrips will become pantropical, occurring globally in tropical climates in the near future. Thrips are minute, pale yellow, white, or light brown flying insects. Body segments hosting the antenna, mouthparts, and wings are often darker than the rest of its body. Male thrips are even smaller than the females. Thrips use their piercing and sucking mouthparts to feed from sap and other plant fluids. Females also use their mouthparts to cut slits into plant leaves before ovipositioning, egg laying. These slits protect the eggs and larvae as they grow. The highly enlarged images below show thrips adults, the darker color, and larvae on leaves. The polyphagous thrips feeds on plants at all stages of their life and even post-harvest. They prefer leaves, fruits, and flowers. Damage by thrips includes signs of feeding such as brown pitting following piercing, death or damaged health due to fluid loss by the plant. This is often indicated by dead hearts, when the youngest leaves are white and or misshapen when they unfurl. Scarring, distorted shapes, colors, and patterns of fruits, and scarring and abnormal leaf colors. Tropical climate crops most impacted by thrips include legumes, including cowpeas, soybeans, and groundnuts, gourds such as pumpkins, nightshades such as eggplants, peppers, and tomatoes, melons and cucumbers, okra, onions, cotton, tobacco, rice. The thrips' size and resiliency challenge prevention, treatment, and control. Somewhat effective methods include application of insecticides, pesticides, and parasitoids, propagating and planting with uninfected plants, agricultural hygiene and sanitation such as removal of debris post-harvest, cleaning crops before storage and marketing, introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as the aureus insect species. Spider mite, including Mononicellus tanajoa and species of Tetranychus. The cassava green mite, alternatively known as the green spider mite, is one of a number of small arachnids pests. The cassava green mite causes significant damage to cassava crops, with an annual estimated 50% weight loss of leaves and 80% tuber loss. Another highly damaging mite in tropical climate agriculture is the red spider mite. The red spider mite causes similar devastation in tomato and eggplant crops with 50% damage to crop yield. Spider mites are not visible to the naked eye. The image on the right has been magnified 40 times. The spider mites are colored as their names suggest. Green spider mites are light green-yellow, while red spider mites are shades of bright red-orange. Both males and females are smaller than 0.8 millimeters in size. Spider mites feed on the underside of leaves. They do not have antennae or wings. While spider mites can be dispersed by wind or sea, they're most commonly transported accidentally by trade, cargo, or luggage. Damage to plants occurs first on the underside of leaves. Symptoms of spider mite infestation resemble cassava mosaic virus symptoms, including stunted, distorted, or abnormal leaf shapes and colors, mottled leaves and leaf fall, brown or yellow leaf spots, wilts, chlorosis due to loss of chlorophyll through feeding, dusty undersides of leaves, plant reduction in health, yield, or death. In a heavy infestation, spider mites build compact webs between leaves or plants. Spider mites can be prevented, treated, or controlled by planting uninfected plants or resistant plant varieties, planting in uninfected fields and or upwind from an infected field, timing planting outside of the rainy season to ensure that the crop could withstand an infestation, intercropping, introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as predatory mites, planting in uninfected fields and or upwind from an infected field, proper pruning, debris cleaning, and other agricultural hygiene and sanitation. Pod-sucking bug, Riptortus dentypes, and Hemiptera species. While pod-sucking bugs are a general classification for the piercing and sucking insects that feed on pods, flowers, and fruits, some of those species are commonly known as pod-sucking bugs too. One of these species is damaging to crops such as the cowpea, making it a formidable pest in African agriculture. The pod-sucking bug is thin with a broad head. Its body is usually brown or black. Pod-sucking bugs suck sap from pods and seeds of a plant. This can cause different levels of damage depending on the stage of seed growth. Symptoms of damage can include discoloration and/or spots approximately the size of rice grains, shriveled or sterile seeds, drying or necrosis of the pods or plants, and empty pods. Crops commonly damaged by pod-sucking bugs include cowpea, chickpea, soybean, and sorghum. Pod-sucking bugs are polyphagous and highly mobile, making them difficult to control. Approaches to prevention, treatment, and control include proper agricultural hygiene and sanitation, such as removal of debris following harvest, application of insecticide or pesticide, hand picking and killing, early planting, intercropping. This photo shows damage to immature cowpea seeds due to pod-sucking bug damage. Green stink bug, Neisseria viridula and Acrosternum acutum. The green stink bug, also called the green shield bug or green soldier bug, is a broad, bright green pod-sucking bug. The shield shape is often edged with narrow strips of yellow, orange, or red colors. When disturbed, the adult and nymph stink bugs both release a large amount of odorous liquid from a gland in their thorax. This protective action gives the green stink bug its name. Females densely lay eggs on a leaf. The egg's color is a creamy white at ovipositioning, changing to pink and then orange as the bug matures. Although the stink bug prefers pods, fruits, and flowers, they will feed on any available part of the plant. The insects puncture the plant tissue before feeding on sap and other fluids. Signs of damage include brown and black spots and other evidence of feeding, misshapen leaves and early defoliation, abnormal textures, hard or spongy, on or inside fruits, decline in plant health due to drying of fruits and plant, desiccated fruits and seeds, dropping of immature fruits, stunted plant growth, infection by pathogen through the pierced hole, lower crop yield and or quality due to infection of planting previously damaged seeds. The green stink bug is highly adaptable and polyphagous. Some tropical crops impacted by the green stink bug include ground nuts and other legumes, vegetables such as turnips, asparagus, tomatoes, cucumbers, fruits such as berries, peaches, and pomegranates, grains such as wheat, sorghum, barley, hops, and millet, cotton, cowpeas, soybeans, cassava, tobacco, rice, okra, cashews, sesame, cocoa, maize, ginger. Cultural and biological methods are fairly effective, so chemical applications may not be necessary. Green stink bug damage can be prevented, treated, or controlled by proper agricultural sanitation and hygiene, such as washing tools and prompt removal of leaf litter and other debris. Timing planting to ensure mature plants prior to hatching of green stink bugs, hand-picking insects and eggs, introduction or encouragement of natural predators such as wasps, crop rotation, trap cropping or intercropping, and pesticides or insecticides.